What's up, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News, the most controversial call-in show on YouTube.
Adam, what makes it so controversial?
Well, Dex, because we do a lot of controversing.
Adam, I think you mean conversational, not controversial.
What are you talking about? I maybe have 2 or 3 ads for the whole show.
Adam, those are commercials.
Okay, looking at the time, what is it? Grammar time? Mr. MC Grammar? Are you going to go get on your grammar pants?
You can't spell this. Dun-na-na-na, dun-na, dun-na, can't spell this.
Try to la prick to quit. We'll be right back with today's news, and probably minus Dex. You really had to show me up like that?
It was too easy.
I wanted to get like one more MC Hammer reference in there, but I ran out. All right. Well. What do we have here? We have lots of crazy news, some things going down in California, not only power outages, but apparently explosions. We're going to show you that. We have some video that is quite mysterious. We also have face projectors, all sorts of things. But before we start, just so you know, this is a live call-in show. My name is Adam, aka Marf, and you will be able to call at some point here at 224400-MARF. If you've never been here before, we go over today's top news and anything that we feel is important, and then we actually back that up by doing a bibliography. If you want to follow along during today's show, you may do so. All you have to do is go to marfooglenews.com. It's really this easy. You go to this thumbnail once you get there, and you will be able to see every article that we reference. So we don't just tell you something and, say, believe us. We actually back it up with where we got it. So right here, you can actually go through in order and you can follow along on all of these articles. So with that being said, let's just make sure too, Dex is going to be screening the calls. What is really awesome about this is if you end up calling in and say you have something that debunks one of the articles we show or something that we are claiming, you can actually give that to Dex and have him show the rest of the Foogle Family, is what we call ourselves. And then you can share what you feel about this subject, or if you have a website that you want to share with us, or a video that you think disproves it or proves it. That would be great. Now you know how to do it. Make sure to, again, press option 4 when you call 224400-MARF. Dex, are you there? I just want to make sure we got our sound good and everything else.
Hello, Adam. I am here, and hello, Foogle Fam.
Okay, so lots of crazy stuff on today's docket. We have 17 different articles and pieces. So there's a lot, so we might hit things. More importantly, if we only hit a paragraph of something, again, you can go to the website and you can find the news right there. Really crazy stuff going on all around the world. We're going to show you that. Not only that, just really weird stuff. So if you haven't seen what's going on, buckle up, as the great Jacob Israel would say. First off, we have some big things here. They got him. U.S. Senator Graham duped by Russian pranksters, calls Kurds threat to Turkey. With the Turkish military bombarding Kurdish People's Protection Unit, or the YPG, positions in northern Syria. Again, if I say anything weird during the show, it's on purpose. Amid a U.S. drawback, the T-Man administration is coming under almost as heavy fire for abandoning the Ostensible's allies. It says, however, T-Man began to let the mask slip on Wednesday in justifying the withdrawal by listing off U.S. conflicts Kurds didn't fight in. Graham had already pulled the whole facade off the administration in early August when Russian pranksters got him to admit how he and T-Man felt about the Kurds, believing he was speaking to the Turkish defense minister. So Dex, was this the equivalent of a prank call? Is that what it sounds like?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a prank call.
Wow.
They impersonated and got him to say a bunch of things. So yeah, not good.
That's pretty bad. It says, quote, your YPG Kurdish problem is a big problem. The South Carolina senator believed he was telling the Turkish defense minister Hulusi Akar in the early August phone call, a copy of which was obtained by Politico and published Thursday. In reality, Graham was speaking with Stolarov and Kuznetsov, who pranked every political from U.S. Representative Adam Schiff to Washington Examiner journalist Tom Rogan and U.S. Special Representative for Venezuela Elliot Abrams. So these guys have actually pranked multiple high-ranking officials and got them to admit some stupid crap. Like, that's horrible. This is pretty. This is almost funny if it wasn't so messed up. Again, if you want to read the rest of this article, you can go ahead and go to marfooglenews.com. We have crazier stuff to get onto. Conflict, and I use conflict lightly because this W word is a filtered one. Obviously, there were three choices on the table from Soraya, according to Commander-in-Chief President T-Man. It says conflict, sanctions, or a deal. T-Man says U.S. has three choices with Turkey in Soraya. And this is according to RT, so it's coming from that angle. It says U.S. President DT has laid out three choices for Washington in dealing with Turkey's incursion into Soraya, including a, quote, deal between Ankara and the U.S. allied Kurdish militias, noting that the Kurds and Turkey have been fighting each other for 200 years. And that no U.S. troops are in the area and Soraya under attack by Turkish troops. The U.S. president spelled out the options of his administration on Twitter, seemingly inviting a response from the general public. It says, we have one of three choices: send in thousands of troops and win militarily, hit Turkey very hard financially and with sanctions, or mediate a deal between Turkey and the Kurds. So he's saying that he there's three choices. We beat them up, we pocket them up, or we hug them up. I guess that's the three that he's laid out there. Which one do you think he's going to end up doing? If you feel like it, you can always put your answer in the chat so then other people can see that as well. Which, by the way, doesn't look like it's showing up right here, which is funny enough. And then it's almost like clockwork. Look at the little thing popping up there. It's like a growing little boy. It's just going right up there. Okay, I digress. So this is obviously another turning point, another hot point over there on the other side of the earth. So we will be following that closely. Now, this is another part of this. Turkey shelled a prison holding IS foreign fighters, Kurdish-led administration, according to Reuters. So the Syrian Kurdish-led authorities accused Turkey of shelling a prison holding Islamic State militants of more than 60 nationalities, calling this, quote, a clear attempt to help them escape. There was no immediate comment from Turkey. It says the shelling on Wednesday night targeted part of the Chirkin prison in the city of Kamashli, and the Kurdish-led authorities said in a statement. It says, quote, these attacks on prisons holding Daesh IST cell people will lead to a catastrophe, and the consequence of which the world may not be able to handle later on, the statement said. So, one thing, Dex, do you realize what they're saying? So if some of these really, really bad T or ists got out, is this a setup for something bad to happen and say, these guys were in jail, but then they got broken out?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And by the way, we just reported on this, I think just yesterday, and I think that article was a day earlier, saying, hey, this can happen. Like, we should be careful. What happens when they come in and all of these T people are locked up? they're going to be set free. And what do we see today? Boom, they're shelling the camp. They're shelling the prison. So,
and they're not shelling it to kill these people. They're shelling it to get them out. So boom, half the wall's gone. They run all out. Like this is some crazy movie stuff. In fact, this is set for a movie right there. Boom.
Right, and I think Rodin also said that he was willing to take and push in even more refugees into Europe as a result of this too. So no telling what'll happen with that.
Well, this is seriously something that is very odd. We'll be following this as well. I mean, look, think about it. They're shelling some of the worst terrorists in the world are in this prison, and they shelled half of it so they could escape. This is some crazy stuff. So obviously we're going to look at this, but we kind of called this. I mean, we actually said things about this not only a couple days ago, but we're talking about 3.5 months ago, saying that some of these guys, there were plans and there was chatter online that they were going to be broken out. And now what do we have? We actually have them possibly broken out. And even if they didn't break out, then they could actually drive out via van and they could say, oh no, we didn't let them go. They broke out during this explosion or during this shelling. So really crazy stuff. We've got California utility face gripes over deliberate blackouts. So this is the big story that everybody's talking about. And obviously up to 3 million people. Now they say 500,000 and some of these include businesses. I don't know what the final number is now. I heard closer to 1 million and that's 1 million customers, which just like in New York, 1 million customers means, an apartment complex is a customer in their eyes, or a commercial building that could have 200 tenants. So this is a big deal. And some people called in actually last night and said that they did not get 24-hour notice. They didn't get 2 days notice. Some said they did. But again, some said that they got as little as 6 hours notice, and essentially they're getting their power turned off for 7 days. Not a lot of people are going with the official narrative, and it's not our position to go against it because we're not there. We can't see what's going on, but we can see a lot of weird stuff going on right now from the sky and some different videos. So first I'm going to read you this, but I'm going to show you what we're talking about. We're talking about 5 different places in California having explosions apparently visible from space. And there are rumors, and I will be the first one to say I just saw this on Twitter. People are saying that there's UN troops in California. We are going to confirm something like that before we even, that could be something that's, just thrown around Twitter as a joke. So we're going to confirm that. But when we saw this, that was kind of like that, pretty nuts. I think in my head about all this stuff. I know that a lot of you guys see stuff like that and you kind of theorize, you're kind of like, what if, they're turning off the power so, they can do some crazy operation or this, all sorts of things go through your head, invasions, everything, civil, discord, all sorts of stuff. It says millions of Californians played a waiting game with the winds Thursday as Pacific Gas and Electric watched the weather before deciding whether to restore power to an enormous portion of the state blacked out on purpose. Now, again, we've got at least 20, 30 emails from people saying there's no wind, not an ounce of wind, not a single mile per hour in their area, but yet they had their power shut off. Now, again, if you didn't see last night's episode, obviously we covered the fact that this really has not been done. A gentleman called in from PG&E, and he sounded like a straight up PR member. He's a avid watcher of the show, so I hope you guys are nice to him. He called in, and a lot of people gave him crap, saying this and that. It feels like he was just doing his job and representing his company, and he's just doing what any one of you would do. But it was kind of funny that he had an answer for everything we asked. So if you haven't seen that one, go to last night's show. It was quite crazy kind of be filled in by somebody who sounds like they would, be on a podium talking to California in front of the news. That's how he sounded. He goes like, very good question, good question. Either way, this is so weird because they're not waiting for a storm to knock out something to then repair it. They are knocking out the power before the storm. And apparently in some places there was no storm. And on top of that, they're doing this so it doesn't spark a fire because the winds are so bad, it was so humid, so hot that they were worried about something exploding and then causing a fire somewhere. But again, this is worried to cause about $2.8 billion or $2.6 billion in damage just from doing a voluntary shutdown. Prepper Ilea says, we had a downed power line from strong winds in my forest town today that would have caused a huge fire if PG&E didn't preemptively shut off our grid. Well, Prepper Ilea, I know that yesterday you said something as well. We're getting so many reports of no wind nowhere and they're out of power. I don't know how you feel about that, but I understand you are fully on their side. I get it, Prepper Ilea. But 7 days, I don't see how. I guess, Prepper Ilea, I would love to talk to you about your thoughts about what happened with Paradise as well. But we can do that at some point. But thank you for being here and thank you for supporting. The state's largest utility pulled the plug to prevent a repeat of the past 2 years when wind-blown power lines sparked deadly wildfires that destroyed thousands of homes. An unpopular move that disrupted daily life, prompted by forecasts calling for dry, gusty weather, came after catastrophic fires sent PG&E into bankruptcy and forced it to take a more aggressive step to prevent blazes. It says the blackouts began Wednesday, hitting more than 500,000 homes and businesses north of San Francisco Bay. In the wine country, the Central Valley and Sierra Nevada foothills, where a November wildfire blamed PG&E transmission lines, killed 85 people and virtually incinerated the town of Paradise. So again, I don't see how people see that Paradise fire and not see anything weird with that. I just don't really understand part of that, but late Wednesday night, after a full day of delays, PG&E began cutting power in the Bay Area, excluding the city of San Francisco. Overall, about 734,000 customers and as many as 2 million people could be affected. PG&E has warned that they might have to do without power for days after the winds subside, because every inch of the power system must be inspected by helicopters and thousands of ground workers and declared safe before the grid is reactivated. So that's another thing that I don't understand. They have to inspect every little piece of it. Does that usually happen when they just turn off the power? I'm just kind of confused by that. I would like to have the gentleman last night says because they have to re-energize it, so they have to inspect it. But I think that's, do the fires happen and do the explosions happen when they turn the power back on? That's what confuses me about the thing. And they're telling us that days after the wind, so if there's zero wind, that they're still going to have to take days of no power. I mean, this is a serious thing. To have no power for 3-4 days, somebody like you, especially like Prepper Ilea, you're prepped. I know that you have stuff prepped out and you're probably prepared for this. But think about your neighbors and think about the people that are not prepared for this. Think about the people that got 6 hours of notice and nobody can tell us that they didn't. We had over 25 emails saying that they got no notice and they're without power. And most of them said, we've got our power banks and things like this because they're not even going to be able to watch a show tonight because they have no power and no way to charge it. A lot of people are staying in hotels. A lot of people went out of town. Some people took this opportunity to go on a vacation. But still, this is not normal. I get that they're bankrupt. They're not trying to shell out another $1 billion in lawsuits to people that died in Paradise. I mean, Dex, is it correct that that's part of the reason why they went bankrupt is because of the Paradise incident?
Yeah, it is. The expense, I think they settled around $1 billion or something.
That's what
for
I'm seriously asking everybody. I'm not trying to put a spin on this. You guys heard the gentleman call in last night. It was just kind of crazy that they called in with that. But this is unheard of. Is this going to happen every year from now on? If you live in California, does that mean every single summer well, actually, no. I mean, shoot, it's, October in every time of the year. If there's something like this, are they going to shut down power for weeks at a time? I personally, I don't know if I would want to live somewhere that had, I guess I don't, even 2 days without power is a big deal. 6 hours without power is a big deal, but we're talking 7 days. For the unprepared, this is going to be horrendous. And they're saying that they have to manually inspect before they go back. And then some are saying that, the wind went through here. There's no wind forecasted. Why aren't they started right now? Why don't they go at the places that there's no forecasted wind? They're basically doing 7 days period. So I think my theory on this is that we're going to get evidence of something else going on. Which, speaking of which, so I want to show you guys this. So this is Logic Before Authority, and we're playing this under fair use. I want to show you this. Great. Make sure to go show some love. So this, at different timestamps, these are explosions. Now, Dex, do we know where this is shot from?
The exact location, other than it's California. For those who are familiar with California can look and recognize the landmarks off of the lake and the islands there. But yeah, what we're seeing here are what look like little explosions that are happening, and little puff of smoke that comes out and dissipates. And they're not lightning strikes, because wouldn't actually look like that. And spotted in this form. And then the other thing was the person, Raymond Ripperl, who sent this to me, also went and double checked against the fire maps, and did see hot spots in those same areas. So not sure that the actual they were on the ground or anything like that, but there was hot spots that then showed up in the exact same location.
So it's all over the state. There's these weird little explosions that are happening, and I think this is super odd. I don't know if Raymond Rip Curl kind of knew about where exactly what parts these are at. I know he's an Oregonian, so I don't know if he would know it just as much as we don't know it. But there you go again. There's on this line, you see it right up here, which I don't know if you see that. It's up on the upper right. You can actually see more explosions right by the blue line. Let's see if we can catch that. Boom, there it is, and that one was very prominent. I'm gonna try to pause this. There's the beginning of it. You see it? That is just weird. Watch right over here. Boom. So I would love to hear people's opinions on this. If you have any information about this, or if you've heard explosions and you live in California, please let me know what you think. If you feel like this is, if you feel like you have an explanation for this. I mean, these are explosions very far apart from all over the place. Are these power lines? I don't think so, but who knows? What the heck would that be? And then, of course, we have multiple channels spreading rumors of UN troops in California. We haven't confirmed that. Nothing like that would be confirmed. And I, almost 100% guarantee you that that's, probably some sort of rumor that got out of control. I think some folks might even use this to take advantage of, YouTube. But, and I'm not saying, because I don't know who that came from. I don't know who's covering that. But people are saying that. And I didn't see a source that other than hearsay behind that. but this is just really weird. So we will see. Again, it looks like you can tell that this is done with like DU recorder. It's right off of weather.cod. So I have no idea what that is. Just very, very strange. Again, this is Logic Before Authority did this. So make sure to go over, subscribe, and say hello, and say you're awesome, and go do a love mob. All right, so what do you guys think that is? I mean, that's just really, really strange. Absolutely incredible. Good catch. Logic Before Authority, all one word. Make sure to go check them out. Okay, so this is really quite fascinating. And here's something that somewhat might back this up. California fires, millions without power during planned outages as wildfires threaten state today. Despite an unprecedented effort to prevent wildfires, at least 3 of them erupted in Southern California this afternoon, fueled by strong winds and dry conditions. 50 miles east of Los Angeles, several homes began burning just as the power company was turning off the electricity in the area. In an effort to prevent sparking a fire, reports say that one fire was near downed power lines in the city of Fontana. In the hills south of San Bernardino, another fire broke out. Winds there were gusting up to 30 miles per hour, hampering firefighters trying to protect buildings. This led to 14,000 Southern Californians going without power. In the northern part of the state, hundreds of thousands of customers have been living in the dark since Wednesday, when PG&E orchestrated a rolling blackout in desperate effort to prevent its equipment from igniting fires. Southern California utilities have been hesitating to shut down electric grids on a massive scale in an effort to stem a customer backlash. Again, we showed you yesterday that somebody shot at a PG&E employee, and they even had to shut down the PG&E headquarters because people were egging it and threatening it. So people are pissed off. It says where to cut power has not been a perfect science. Obviously, the power was left on in one San Jose neighborhood until high winds knocked down a line, sparking a small fire. Neighbors arrived at the scene, first dousing the flames and saving homes. So again, it looks like civilians actually stopped that fire in its tracks and ended up saving their neighbors. So good on them. But so there were fires. Doesn't explain the explosions though. So it's quite odd.
In addition to those, Adam, there's also been controlled fires that were set, I want to say, near Yosemite and El Dorado National Forest. So people are seeing or smelling that. Those are supposed to be controlled burns. Hopefully they don't get out of control. That's the current narrative right now, is those are controlled burns.
Well, we'll see. I guess we're going to follow it. There's quite a few things. There's a couple of things here weird about the Hong Kong protests. Sorry about that, guys. Apple, Google pull Hong Kong protest apps amid China uproar. So supposedly there was an app that actually helped protesters, apparently. It says Apple Inc. Removed from its digital store an app that citizens and protesters in Hong Kong use to track police activity, thrusting the tech giant deeper into the furor engulfing U.S. companies over the protests. It says the removal, which Apple announced late Wednesday, followed the criticism in the Chinese state media of the tech giant's decision just days earlier to approve the app called HK Map Live. So named Hong Kong Map Live, and it actually tracked the police activity. It says that Apple said that it pulled HK Map Live because it was concerned it endangered law enforcement and residents. It said in a statement that Hong Kong's Cybersecurity and Technology Crime Bureau verified the app was being, quote, used to target and ambush police, threaten public safety, and criminals have used it to victimize residents in areas where they know there is no law enforcement. Think about that. If you had a neighborhood and you knew there was no cops there. So one thing I don't get, Dex, is how did they track them in the first place? Because I know in China they have the what is it, the Weibo app or something that everybody's tracked. Is this how they tracked the people?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how they track them, but obviously you're seeing the control of the authority of China. If they don't like something, they can take it out. And, even the big tech giants will kowtow and say, how may I help you, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's pretty crazy. It says China is Apple's second most important market after the U.S., accounting for $52 billion in sales last year, a fifth of the company's total. Apple has been quick to react to Chinese pressure over the years. In 2013, Chief Executive Tim Cook issued an apology to quell 2 weeks of criticisms from state-run media accusing Apple of skirting warranties and discriminating against Chinese customers. It says Apple has also deleted hundreds of apps from its mainland China app store in recent years, including the removal of New York Times apps in 2017, which Apple said violated local regulations. Critics have accused the company of complying with censorship to satisfy authorities in one of its most important markets. Apple has said it's obligated to comply with local laws. So they're basically saying that, that's a fifth of Apple's money, and they are basically bending over backwards for folks that are censoring their people and holding people down, possibly, taking organs from people that have a low enough credit score. I mean, that sounds like fiction, but now a lot of things are coming out about how they're putting people in camps, all sorts of weird stuff. And that's not a theory. That's like, that's actually getting busted out right now. So who knows? Here's some really crazy stuff. Protesters in Hong Kong have wearable face projectors, and this is what it looks like. So it's a hat that looks like kind of a duckbill on top of their forehead, and what it does is it confuses facial recognition by projecting a face onto your face. Is this absolutely crazy or what? This is just nuts. Again, so if you're a woman, say project a man or project an old lady, and it constantly switches faces, it looks like. This is so weird. So it says protesters in Hong Kong have got wearable projectors to avoid facial recognition. Who thought of this? And where can you get them? This is nuts. I'm actually curious. I want to look. Face projector. Obviously, you're not going to find it on the wearable face projector. Just so weird. Now it says that wearable face projector Hong Kong protesters are supposedly using is not real. This is by IFL Science, so they say that this is fake. It says after months of protests in Hong Kong following proposals to allow extradition to mainland China, clashes between police and protesters have become more widespread and violent. It says police have fired tear gas at protesters and shot them with rubber bullets, whilst protesters have thrown bricks and firebombs in return. On Friday last week, the Hong Kong authorities brought in an emergency law banning demonstrators from wearing masks in an attempt to curtail the unrest, which has been seen millions of people demonstrating on the streets over the last 4 months. So one thing you could say about that is if you looked at this, I don't know if that's fake. I would think that would be actually physically, that would be quite easy to do. If you really think about it with today's technology, this would be incredibly easy. This hat could be powered by some sort of LED projector. They have simple projectors like this that do a simple picture for kids' toys. In fact, I had one of my daughters that had a little, it was like an action figurine, and you push the button on the back and it would actually project a whole like talking face thing. It was such a weird toy, but they've had these since they even had I remember I had an action figure where I pushed the back and it would project something from the belt. It was a Batman figurine, and it would project a kind of a picture of a Batman scene. So this wouldn't be that hard physically. This almost looks like you could do it for less. You could have kind of a, one of those stupid plastic visor things and project it. So I don't know if this is fake. It might be an idea of how to do it. But if you think about it, if the laws are against wearing masks, that means everybody gets caught that does protest. Or at least they'll be on facial recognition, and they could later receive tickets, or they could later be extradited if they end up saying, this is completely illegal. You can't even demonstrate. So pretty weird by itself. It says U.S. orders surveillance aircraft to conduct mission over Korean Peninsula. So there's always a big deal when they go over this, whenever they do their drills in the Korean Peninsula, especially with South Korea. According to Aircraft Spots, two E-8C Joint Surveillance Target Attack Radar Systems, otherwise known as J-STARS, aircraft landed at the Kadena Air Base in the Japanese prefecture of Okinawa on Sunday to allegedly, quote, resume missions over the Korean Peninsula. Either one or both aircraft flew over Japan Wednesday for a, quote, Korean Peninsula mission. According to the aviation tracker, the E-8C can collect information on NKs, just to show you, troops and equipment movements, according to the Korea Times. The mission marks the first time the U.S. has sent surveillance aircraft to the Kadena Air Base since early 2018. However, the U.S. has continued to dispatch its reconnaissance plane, the RC-135 Rivet Joint, over South Korea. This is after on the second, NK fired a submarine-launched ballistic missile. And in last year, obviously we had all those talks and they did not go well. If you want to read more about the denuclearization talks, you can go to our website, marfooglenews.com, and of course, click below. This is pretty crazy. It's the Chinese new Navy mystery submarine. China continues to surprise the defense world. It is probably the only country on Earth that can build a full-size submarine without any details leaking out. By comparison, the name, size, and general characteristics of U.S. Navy submarines are well known long before they roll out of the shed. A year ago, China surprised everyone by launching a submarine that no one had been expecting. And only now are further details emerging via open source intelligence. So this is the new mystery submarine. So it's kind of funny that they had the mystery submarine of Russia's, where the officials said that after it caught fire, that they stopped a planetary catastrophe, and they never said what it was. So this thing is gigantic. I know, Dex, is it me, or this looks bigger than a normal submarine? I guess there's no reference to how big it is,
Yeah. I mean, they're awfully big, and you don't usually see a lot of them when they're sitting in the water, right? Because only the top sticks out. But yeah, that thing looks pretty big.
Yeah, that thing that's huge. I wonder, doesn't look, I mean, usually there's a certain shape to them too, so they don't hit on radar too. But man. It says, until now, we could only estimate her size based on the launch photos. Thanks to fresh analysis of commercial satellite imagery, which caught the new submarine outside the shipyard, we know that she is 150 foot long and about 15 feet across. This is slightly smaller than my initial estimates that make her compact for a submarine, but still too large to be described as a midget submarine. The satellite passed overhead in September, demonstrating that she is undergoing some of the builder's trials. She is not yet posted to an operational base. So So just the fact that they said that China is one of the places that nothing leaks out as far as their new stuff goes on, that only backs up what I've been saying and what a lot of other people have been saying. By the way, Freedom Fighters is overcompensating. Yes, with their huge submarine. But it only proves, or it only backs me up further, that I believe they could have a whole lot more vehicles, a whole lot more submarines, a whole lot more planes, a whole lot more jets. They might not be as technologically advanced. They might be even copying our stuff and getting it wrong. Doesn't matter. What I've said before is that they possibly have way more vehicles, way more hidden stuff than we think they do. And I, just from everything we hear, that stuff wouldn't get out. Over there, if you're even suspected of, telling on somebody or some of the treasonous stuff that goes on here, you would be dead. Yeah, I would assume they would take your organs while you're alive over there. I mean, look at what's going on in our politics right now. There's people that, should be tried for treason. They should be hanged publicly, and it doesn't happen anymore. Over there, it does. So they keep a secret much longer than we do. I think they have a lot more vehicles. Like I said, even if we have this amazing jet that kicks ass and outflies their jet, if there's 10 jets to our one, that jet isn't going to win. That jet's going to lose to 10 jets. They could be going for quantity over quality. So, there's something to be said about that, because they have stolen a lot of our designs, especially with our most advanced jets. They've hacked our systems. They've got pretty much, what we have in most areas, at least in aerial. And aerial is where we really shine. So hopefully they're not too caught up. But I really do think a lot of people underestimate them. And this is mostly people that have never even been to China, or, they're basing it off of information they get from mainstream or from something. Chinese UFO helicopter dubbed Super Great White Shark. Once you see this thing, you're going to be like, what the hell? Makes waves at Tianjin Air Show. And I like how it was at Tianjin. You guys remember that explosion at Tianjin? The one that we thought was a directed energy. That was pretty crazy. It says, Super Great White Shark helicopter prototype at Tianjin Air Show, October 2019. It says a futuristic-looking helicopter prototype has attracted an enormous amount of attention just by sitting on the ground at the air show in Tianjin, China. It says the Super Great White Shark, that sounds like something out of like a Godzilla movie, like, the Super Great White Shark looks like a flying saucer or a robot vacuum. Images of the circular rotor craft appeared online on the eve of the 5th China Helicopter Exposition, which officially opened in Tianjin on Thursday. Well, in the, quote, initial stage of its design, according to the machine-translated sign at the exhibit, it is now supposed to draw on the mature design technologies used in contemporary U.S. and Russian attack and cargo helicopters. So, let me just show you this. This is what it is. This is a video of it, and I tell you what. That looks like a UFO. Did you see that? So you can't see the up at top. You barely see it. Yeah, I'll zoom in here so you guys can see it again. Up at the top, you can see that these things open up and then propellers come out, apparently. Isn't that what happens, Dex?
Hey, Adam. Yes, I believe so. This thing is pretty weird looking.
Why? Could this be something like what those videos saw, too? What are these vents for?
Yeah. it's a very strange craft. I think the way obviously it's using wind power to elevate. If it's called a helicopter.
I just think it looks freaking weird. I mean, this is weird stuff. And it's got little red booties. Or maybe it landed on a witch. The Wicked Witch. Or I guess the Wicked Witch didn't get landed on. It was the Good Witch of the West, I think. Anyways.
I think in the diagram, though, it shows the wind is like in the center of it. Like it rotates, kind of like some sort of Dyson fan, right?
Like a Dyson?
You know what I mean? Those fans that everything blows in the middle.
Yep. I don't know. Well, here's my thought on that. What if they are just now like getting the reverse engineered alien stuff or whatever, the UFO stuff, and they're a little bit more public about it. See, they want us to see that though. Like we just said, if they didn't want us to see it, they wouldn't, we wouldn't be seeing it. So it says that the Air Force blows up tons of explosives seized from single Florida man. So Central Florida prepper and J-Stone and all you Florida folks, this guy was right around your corner. It says members of the 6th Civil Engineer Explosive Ordnance Disposal Flight, blah, 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 blah. It says tobacco, firearms, and explosives and other local and state authorities oversee a controlled detonation at the Avon Park Air Force Range in Florida, September 9th. The ATF seized more than 7,000 pounds of explosives from a prior convicted felon in the largest explosives seizures in Florida's history. Now, one thing to say about this, those explosions that went off in California that we saw from space? What if they seized somebody else over there? Maybe this got out, but what if there's multiple people? What if they just did a huge seizure of explosions, and maybe they used this, maybe in California they were lighting it off. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. And it says the explosives were seized in early 2018 from Mark Jason Levine following an investigation. This was 7,700 pounds of explosives, fuses, and flash powder were detonated. So why did this guy have so many explosives? This is just nuts. So he was planning on doing some serious damage. It says the Air Force partnered with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives on the operation and called it the largest seizure in explosives in Florida history. Levine was sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2018 after pleading guilty to being a felon in possession of explosives. He was selling the explosives online and storing them in the shed behind his home. Okay, so still, that's creepy that the guy was selling it, but like that kind of amount of explosives, that's like something that you would think you were trying to blow up a building. That's no bueno.
Is that on eBay?
Right? Where would he sell them? I guess that would be something you would get on the dark web, right? I mean, you can.
That's in the dark web for sure.
Yeah, you can. So I don't recommend anybody go on the dark web unless they have to. But you get into the Tor and dark web and all that kind of stuff, you can literally buy anything, and I mean anything, and it's scary. Like, don't even want to think about some of the stuff that I've heard about being sold there. In fact, the username of the person selling some of the worst stuff was it Hillary something? Hillary Clint? Hillary some Clint? Eastwood Clint? Tons of explosives. Clint, tons of explosives. I can't
We want to see you tomorrow, so back off.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. This is an actual picture of them blowing up some of the explosives. So that's pretty big boom. But who the hell was on his list? That's what I want to know. Who did he sell these things to? How often do you see explosions like this? And why do they cheat? Okay, so this is what I caught. So I was flipping through my YouTube and I found the video by Unbox Therapy. Everyone's probably seen Unbox Therapy, but you probably, you don't know. If you don't know who he is, you've probably seen him, but if you're not subscribed, it's this guy. He reviews a ton of stuff. These are the shoes. This is what really freaking creeps me out. And this genuinely creeped me out. I started watching and I go, oh, water shoes. That's cool. And I'll just show you little bits of this. This is under fair use.
Studio. It's Willie Doo that you can blame.
Okay, so I'm going to skip through to show you. These are Nikes. Apparently only 15 of them were made. Get this. Look at this on the box, by the way. I want to find out. I don't have anything breaking down what those are. The 2 keys, the cross. This looks like some Masonic crap, first of all. It says Nike Air Max 97, crucifix, wool, holy water. This isn't a fake thing. This isn't from China. These aren't fake. Nike actually made Jesus shoes. And check out this symbol here. And on the shoes, check this out. There's water in the bubbles down at the bottom. So down here, there's water that actually moves around, and then you obviously see MT 1425. What creeps me out even more is what Matthew 1425 is. But let me first show you what it actually, this gold thing on top is a gold Jesus on a crucifix. Let me show you this. This is just, this disturbs me. Look at this. That is a crucifix on a tennis shoe with Matthew 14:25. Now let me show you, and this is a total real thing. I don't know why. And then it has a fire, something. I don't know what that is because it's not clear enough. Looks like a teardrop or a red teardrop like blood. I don't know if that's a drop of blood. Blood red souls, where you probably step on some more symbolism. And apparently there is blessed holy water in the bottom of the shoe. Now, let's look up the creepiest part. Matthew U14:25. For those of you who don't know. 25. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said. They cried out and feared. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid. Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. So this is essentially where Jesus was walking on water. Shortly before dawn. There is symbolism here which creeps me out. And I don't usually cover that stuff. But that is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And there's only 15 of them made. $3,000. Jesus shoes lets wearers walk on water. They sold out in minutes. And just a personal opinion, like I like Nikes. Certain ones. Most of these shoes I just think are the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I used to like the old school, like Air Force Ones and Jordans back in the day before they got super weird and looked like abstract art. Or all had, names that rhymed with Jesus. So this is, I have no idea why the hell they did that. A steel crucifix on the shoelaces and an inscription from Matthew 14:25. Those are going to be $1 million shoes, I don't doubt. And this is the Times of Israel. is covering it. I wonder what they said. What do you guys think? Give me a call at 224-400-MARF. That's just nuts. And then look at this. Actually, that broke down. Jesus shoes, walk on water. Wow. And it shows the 5 leading up to the 25th. That's just nuts. All right. Let's see here. Jordan River water in their souls. Wow. This has got to mean something. I'm sorry. Even for the people who think nothing's going on. That's just nuts. Yeah, it says a Brooklyn-based brand, MSCHF, made a customized Nike Air Max 97 that actually has holy water in the river, holy water from the River Jordan in it. They also come with a crucifix and red insoles. If you ever needed proof that we stray further from God's light every day, this new Nike sneaker will do the trick. Today, the internet was made aware that Brooklyn-based brand MSCHF made a $1,000 pair of Nikes that have been dubbed the Jesus shoes. Just nuts. Anyways, and of course, more news. Space News Lober Laureate claims humans won't move to other planets. Not only that, there is a Nobel Prize winner. This gentleman is saying that we're going to find alien life within 30 years. There's 2 different ones here. It says the Swiss astrophysicist believes planets outside of our solar system are simply too far away to reach. Speaking on Tuesday, October 8th, Dr. Mayer said, quote, "It's completely crazy to think otherwise." The astrophysicist and colleague Didler Quellos were awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics this week. It says the scientists were recognized for their pioneering research on distant exoplanets. Thanks to their studies, astronomers have a better chance of discovering potentially habitable worlds in neighboring star systems. Unfortunately, Dr. Mayer does not think humans will reach these worlds anytime soon. So on top of this gentleman, we didn't get this in here. Another one actually believes, and I think it was actually up here, a Nobel Prize winning gentleman as well says he believes we will discover alien life within 30 years. It's been all over the internet. It's been all over news. It's been all over mainstream. So something is going on. Something's going to happen, and watch. Nobody's going to be shocked because they've been doing this every single day. I think, who knows, it might even come via, they'll say an asteroid whizzed by and now we have aliens. New V scenes, and of course, I highlight words I can't say. These were this, you know the things that are bad when you can't say them. New V scenes are in our future that will literally change our DNA. Now, no wonder they don't want us talking about them, because they have a plan for these. A plan for the V scenes to actually alter our DNA completely, turn us into superhumans, or at least those of you with millions of dollars, most likely. It says the National Institute, and by the way, so if we already are telling people that, hey, this can change your DNA, are people not realizing that? And do you think since they can clone animals, they can clone humans, they can create an ear, a heart out of nothing? Do you think that they can't do it right now? So people that are against the V scenes, if you are for V scenes, then aren't you kind of asking yourself, what if this was all part of the plan? They could make us more susceptible to common colds, to diseases, to whatever. They could change our DNA. Whatever evolution has brought us would be wiped out in one little shot. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, or NIAID, has launched efforts to create a vaccine that would protect people from most flu strains all at once with a single shot. This shot would be a DNA-based vaccine that will literally change your body's DNA. It says, with mandatory vaccinations increasingly being legislated, this bodes a very dangerous health future. Politicians and Big Pharma are pouring a lot of money into this, and at first glance, it may appear that your health and well-being are their concern. That could not be further from the truth, according to this article. Massachusetts Senator and big spender Ed Markey has introduced a bill that would shovel no less than $1 billion towards a universal flu vaccine project. There is a sentence from the NIAID press release that mentions one of several research approaches. This is a quote. It says, NIAID Vaccine Research Center scientists have initiated phase 1 out of 2 studies of a universal flu vaccine strategy that includes an investigational DNA-based vaccine called DNA Prime. Are you effing kidding me? Look at what this is. Oh man, Renegade PD says, yeah, no thanks. You guys know what you can do with those vaccines. Yeah, you know where you can put those. It will make us alter God's, somebody says, let's see here. It will make us alter God's creation. That vaccine will be forced on us and will be the mark, perhaps. Next gen, and that was One God said that. Roxy Alameda, changing your DNA is part of the mark of the beast. Think about it, people. Carrie Skeed says, thanks, Bill Hates. Loving the upgrades. Gene Blythe, April Osborne, I have the 3-day head cold. You guys, that's funny. I don't know if you can hear it. My nose all of a sudden is just like, ugh. And Melody Webb, NASA LARPs. Oh, wait, hold on. Shill's alphabet organism compromise infiltrated prey for cleanup. Mike Adams has a video on this. Shocking. Jennifer Raymer, I gotta check that out. I love Mike Adams. If anybody knows how to get a hold of Mike Adams, I want to get him on for an interview, even though he's kind of, blocked off of this platform. Pretty crazy. All right, so let's see here. Called DNA Prime. This is a horrifying if you know what the phrase DNA vaccine means. It refers to the experts are touting as the next generation of immunizations. Instead of injecting a piece of a virus into a person, in order to stimulate the immune system, synthesized genes would be shot into the body. So instead, they would actually change your DNA. This isn't traditional vaccination anymore. It's gene therapy. I think enough of you understand that this is not okay. This is us playing God, and if not, this is somebody doing some very sneaky things. And guess what? Things like this are going to become mandatory. That is what scares me. It's pretty scary. All right, and then if you missed any of this, by the way, you can always go to marfooglenews.com. All of these articles are there. You can check them out. And then, of course, if you want to help support the show and protect yourself against an EMP or a Carrington event, go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. I think this is going to be extremely important, and I think in the end, people will end up thanking us. Each one sold, a commission of this goes to help us grow this channel and grow this news organization. Again, we've been attacked every which way, and I believe that's because people are finally realizing this is going to turn into a legitimate news organization. And we are backing up what we say. We are doing bibliographies. We are trying to make sure that everything is accurate. If we don't put out something accurate, then we usually fix it. And that's, if we know, then we fix it. Again, with EMP Shield, this is the company that is working with the DoD. I know most of you guys already know about this, and if you cannot afford these, they have worked with Klarna to actually do a 4 flex payment option with no money up front and interest free. They have a home version, a vehicle version, a generator version, a solar version, a RV version, and even a ham radio operating version. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP and make sure to check it out. On top of that, obviously we have a lot of things to worry about. If you have one of those installed on everything, that's at least one less thing that you have to worry about. And, of course, if you have not seen this show, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably from myself, from Dex, or anyone else who helps the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. Again, we have no idea what people are going to end up bringing onto the show in the caller portion of this. This is a live show. Right now, it's about 10:27 p.m. Pacific time, 10/10/2019. So it's 10 o'clock on 10/10/2019. And, of course, if you have not subscribed to Marfoogle News, it is almost to 145. Of course, it doesn't show us that because of the new, don't want you obsessed with your subscriber numbers. Just go to marfoogle.news. That's all you have to do. Type in marfoogle.news and it will take you right there to a subscribe button. Boom. It's easy as that. If you want to share something out, go to marfoogle.news. Share it out. And then Marfoogle TV, thank you guys for helping us get to 91,000. We have less than 8,900 to go to 100,000 on this channel. Again, that other channel reached that about a few months ago. I thank you guys every day. So thank you so much. Just blessed to have such a great family around me. Discord, hop in it. Get in there. There's 50 state groups. They're prepping. There's a military group. Again, you can go to marfooglenews.com and sign up for Marfoogle alerts. Make sure to check out the earthing movie that explains grounding and earthing therapy. Go to marfooglenews.com/GT. And then, of course, if you want to help support us in this way, we are trying to expand. We are also trying to bring on 2 more people onto this channel. You can support us through ground therapy. This is something that works. I will only do affiliate stuff for stuff I actually use and believe in. And I used it before I affiliated for it. Again, this is an amazing thing, and I don't think people will actually believe it until they try it. Some of the folks in this group have been doing it for decades. Grounding or earthing is something absolutely amazing, and it's something that once you do for yourself, you end up telling all of your family members. You start trying to get them to get one. It's literally that kind of thing. It feels like it should be a breakthrough. It should be at the top of every news channel. Everybody should be pushing it. But of course, I don't think Big Pharma wants that out. It decreases inflammation, and that inflammation is the root cause of so many different things. They have 25 medical studies that show this. You put this on under your sheet, or even put it on over and lay right on this, it grounds you. It actually plugs into the wall. It goes through down to the earth and it grounds you. It physically changes what's happening to you when you're sleeping or when you're sitting at your desk. They even have a smaller version that sits right at your computer. So if you're sitting at your computer all day typing or doing whatever, put one of the universal mats that comes part of the little package thing, and boom, you're grounded. You get free shipping with the code MH, Muriel Hemingway. So just put in that code of MH and you will get the shipping cost wiped out. Okay, and then, of course, if you have not seen the Marfia shirts, get the words out. This goes towards charity, so make sure to pick up one of the Marfia shirts. We are the Marfia. First off, we turn something negative into positive. We want to push people up. Just this little part right here, I just want to make sure you guys all know. If you're going to defend the Marfia, do it in a positive way. You don't have to lower yourself to any kind of level to try to defend the Foogle Fam. I think that because we attach so much positivity and making friends and pushing people up with the news, it's not something that mixes or jives very well. We're organizing. We're meeting in every state. In fact, most states, even some zones in states, are having multiple meetings happening all the time now. It's pretty amazing. People are organizing all across the country under this little channel. So if you want to help support that, if you, or actually this supports a charity, get one of these, support it by bringing people in. Wear it proudly. Somebody asks you at the store, tell them the Marfia is where it's at. Tell them to go to marfoogle.news or marfoogle.tv and bring them in. Okay, and then of course my favorite one is the the Love Mob, which is pretty BADASS. All right, let's get the first caller in here. First off, Dex. Looks like we actually already have Jake calling about breaking news in Ryan. Whoa, okay. So let's get Jake on here. All right, folks, so we've got some breaking news here. We're going to get Jake on here. And let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the phones. We'll be right back after this commercial message. Controversial message? No, I'm just kidding. There's no commercial. But there is chat on the screen, City in the Dark. Alrighty. Okay, now we've got Jake on here. I had to get switched over to the phone system. Okay, perfect. Jake, you are live on Marfoogle TV. What's going on, man?
Hey, how are you?
Good. So you have some breaking news coming out of Ryan.
Yes. So about 60 miles, it looks like, off the coast of say Audi, there was a Ryanian oil tanker that was just hit. There's two. Yeah, it looks like two of the main tanks were destroyed, and there is an oil spill reported. The Ryanian officials are treating it as a possible terrorist attack, or a T attack. Excuse me. Sorry.
That's okay.
But they're treating it as an aggressive act, not as an accident or something like that. And like I said, it's about 60 miles off the coast of Saudi, so there could be a potential retaliation we're seeing, or it's just the other small country there who you can drive around really quickly, who's not friends with Ryan. They may be taking advantage of the situation going on in Syria and Turkey. So that's the breaking news.
So it says Ryan's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has called on Revolutionary Guards, IRGC commanders, to prepare themselves for, quote, big events. And later on says, yes. Do not fear the enemy at all. Be alert and have thorough assessment of the enemy's potentials. Major events are on the way, according to 3 different articles here on the back end. I've got another one here. This is big news. So let's see here. This is, I'm going to pull something up here. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. This is breaking news as of right now. So this is exactly why we tell you guys to let us know during the show. Explosion in an Ryanian tanker vessel in the Red Sea. According to Ryanian agencies, NAO vessel was 60 miles from Jeddah. Wow. This is an oil tanker on fire.
Yes, and it's still, from what I can gather, it's still currently on fire, and they're still trying to figure out what exactly happened, but they do think foul play is involved. And then in terms of that, the previous article you had up, the article about the guards commander, I actually had a pretty interesting conversation with one of the people who I know who works in contract work, and personally, I think that article is directly tied with the Marine.mil article that you brought up last week. I get that the activation codes state about a natural disaster or maybe civil conflict between countrymen, but as most of the Foogle viewers know, there are sleeper cells of Ryanian or other groups. When I was speaking with this person who had the contract knowledge, I was kind of rattling off certain scenarios where I was trying to gauge what would be the best scenario, what would be the most likely scenario. And every time I would say, would it be a hurricane or a tornado, they would shake their head. When I would say, okay, does this have anything to do with DT and the whole peach thing that's going on, they would shake their head. But then I said, okay, well, Ryan has already said that they want to hurt us here on the home front, and they have sleeper cells here on the home front. So would it be affiliated with that? And they just kind of raised their eyebrows and changed the subject really fast. So I'm not saying that this is what the orders are for, but to me, it kind of spooked me because I was kind of just nonchalant, saying all these scenarios, and then that one scenario all of a sudden got that reaction, and they immediately changed the subject. So
now,
I think yes.
No, that is weird. And so first off, I want to clear up too. Somebody says, "Why do you guys fail pronouncing Ryanian? LOL, you are on drugs." So I'm hoping somebody explained that to them. We do that a lot on this show, and that's because this show continues to be around, and a lot of other shows that say that same word correctly are not. As far as the Meridimans that we brought up, this was in order to put Marines on standby, which, by the way, was not canceled. A lot of people thought that this was canceled a couple days later. It was not. That was the original 2014 Meridimans that it replaced, and this one was different.
Yep, it replaced it.
Yep. And it is now still active. Not only that, they tweaked it a little bit, and the new one is very scary. There's definitely something going on. Okay, hold on here. So that's super weird. Jake, we lost Jake, and now it's trying to reconnect. Jake, are you there?
Hello? I am. Yes. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, it reconnected. Sorry about that.
Oh no, sorry. I don't know what happened.
No, I don't know either.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. So can you repeat
Okay.
just one more time what you think this is connected to, this Meridimans, and then just kind of finish up before you go? So weird. I've never had it happen twice. That is weird. Never had that happen. You guys watch the show enough to know that doesn't happen. Okay, I wanted to get him on here. Dex, if we can get him back on, that's great. Weird. It's having Looks like one of these is having network connections, so hold on. Okay, we're back on. Dex, if you can try to get him back. Now it's back connected. Physically logged out. Okay. Sorry about that, Dex. I had you turned down, so I don't know if you responded, but that's quite odd.
Yeah, I sent Jake back to you.
Okay. Now, he'll be coming in a second. Dex, did you hear what he said?
Fortunately, Adam, I did not. I was on the phone.
Okay. That's, he got a weird reaction out of somebody, but who knows? Whoever gets sent through first. What do you guys think about that? Let's see here. Rick Sullivan, right on, brother. Stefan Diaz, Fliegel still living. Tiny Dancer, we're going to stop the show. Please, everyone, look at Tiny Dancer. They say, I'm late, but viewing the areas of explosion. It looks like northern LA County, San Fernando Valley. Thank you. If you're going to be late, thank you for at least helping with the investigation. Okay. Somebody says maybe because you said sardines or esmerdines or meridamines, maybe. Let's see here. April Osborne, 9 minutes ago, says, just wanted to say my foster care license was open this past Friday. I'm officially a foster parent, just waiting for placement. That's awesome, April. That's amazing. And you've got a lot of cool things going. Also, your last chemo is on the 30th. That is awesome, April. I'm super happy for you. Sharon, V scene didn't work for Will Smith in I Am Legend. Isn't that where that turned him into some real messed up thing? The real Ostuo, thank you for joining the fam. When you subscribe live, we end up giving you a shout out, so thank you. Grover Hunter, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Bushman Canuck says P and G and E going bankrupt. See the real BP Earthwatch. I will check out BP Earthwatch. I love the real BP Earthwatch. If you haven't checked him out, anybody else, please go over there and make sure to subscribe. Teal Hedgehog 25, thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. Tina, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the fam. Karen Franley, Megan, Jezzy Girl 420, Julie Collins, Libby Patterson, Prayer Warrior 14, and Dolores Leba. Thank you all for subscribing in the last hour. Along with Kelly F947, Amy Canny, Couple for Life, Keeper of Strays, Hippie Vasivachita, and Larry Loco. Okay. And thank you, Carrie Steinchen, for pledging on Patreon. Thank you as well for Central Florida Prepper for pledging on Patreon. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Okay, Dex. Well, Jake is not coming through. It won't let.
I sent him through. Are you not getting anything on your end?
Nope.
I'll try again. Okay, give me a sec.
Whatever he said, maybe they don't like. I've never had to do that reconnection stuff though. That was weird. It's a hard line, and everything else would be done if there's no way it would be able to. Only disconnect on one thing. Weird. I mean, I guess we could just roll through to the next callers. I mean, there's nothing. There we go. Hello, you were live on Marfoogle TV.
Hey, Adam. How's it going, bud?
Good. So, I'm assuming Jake fell out, and this is Central Florida Prepper. Okay, what's up, man?
Yeah, not much, bud. Had a couple of things to go over with you right fast. I did a video earlier today well, I titled it the robotic apocalypse, but there was a news story that came through about 6 days ago out of NBC, and they were talking about those night scope security robots. Those are those little trash can looking things riding around, filming everything, reporting in. But yeah, I took a look at it and I started researching a little bit more because I remember hearing about it a couple of years ago. And the one I remembered was they were testing it out here in Florida about 2017. And the reason why this was concerning, besides, something I was watching everybody, in the article they talked about that basically the robot couldn't apprehend anyone, but it acted like a security Roomba. But it records audio, video, scanning license plates, and also identifies smartphones' IP addresses. And that right there is what caught me. And you just showed that article on the facial projection. Either that thing is actually real or not. But dude, I'm telling you, that right there might not be a bad idea to get involved with, actually equipping every household with one of those.
Now, this is one thing to think about is, so say if robots get even worse, what if we all had some sort of EMP actual device, like something that would, as a weapon, do you know what I mean? Like something that could produce an EMP.
That could actually short it out. Yeah, a miniaturized electronic charge that just can kind of fry computer chips or something like that. That might be a possibility. I know you got to kind of watch how you think outside the box in today's society. But yeah, there's been a lot of my subscribers have actually been talking about that too. I'm like, don't be saying that here because it's kind of like destruction of property. What you want to do, don't do that. But yeah, they're talking about replacing security guards, and what's concerning about this thing is they're using this in the United States, and it's actually in a lot of places. When I actually pulled up Nightscope website, they were talking about all these. Most of them was the K5s, the little trash can looking thing. But they were in hospitals. They were in Sacramento, I believe Sacramento Kings. I think that's the sporting team there. They had them there. They had them all over the place, not just public parks. So this thing's riding around. It's a huge invasion of privacy. I mean, we know about facial recognition. Excuse me. We know about facial recognition. They're actually using that here in downtown Orlando. They've been testing that out for the last couple of years. So this thing's recording audio, your face, running your license plate, and picking up your smartphone's IP address. For what purpose? Most people are not breaking any laws, but they're being treated as if they are.
Yeah, it's really quite messed up how things are turning into, they're going to get you before you even commit a crime.
Yeah.
This is Minority Report, and it's happening in real life. If you haven't seen that 2001 film, it's where we are headed, and it's a very scary thing. Well, Central Florida Prepper.
Oh yeah, they even talked about. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
They were even talking about doing preventive crime with this because it's checking things out. There's a lot of reports on this. I was just the only one I wanted to pull up. But man, these things, they do have their faults. I mean, they're not perfect. I mean, if you look on the internet, you'll find that there's plenty of them that have taken swan dives and fountain ponds and things like that. Just drove right off the sidewalk and into a pond. But yeah, they've even got an off-wheel vehicle one. I think it's the K7. I mean, this thing looks like a futuristic RoboCop dune buggy, and there's nobody in it. It just drives around, does whatever it wants to. So yeah, they're putting these systems in, not everywhere yet, but in a lot of places where they get to just spy on everybody. But that was what I was going to talk to you on that. And I was also going to let you know that I did hit my 2,500 subscribers last night. That shout out you did for me last night. And to let you know, as of August 17th, I've actually gained over 1,500 subscribers from shout outs from you, Adam.
That is super
So I wanted
awesome.
to let you know. I wanted you to know that, and that I do appreciate it. I do thank you a lot. Everything from a phone call a couple of days ago when I got to meet Dex and Lexi and Jay Stone down here in Florida. Got to hang out with everybody for a little bit. Got to talk to you for a little bit. That means a lot. It really does.
Well, you're part of the fam, and I think personally that we are doing everything we can to personally meet everybody and to try to get everybody to get prepared in real life. And it's not just a show. I mean, we spend all of our off time trying to get this organized. So a lot of other channels say
exactly
this or that, but we are actually doing it. Actions speak louder than words. So
absolutely.